In our latest SOD TV's Warcraft Logs update, we're focusing on the leader of the pack, Nightsong, a Shaman spec tank. This renowned player, part of the Summer's Guild on the Living Flame EU server, has secured the #1 spot an impressive 20 times. We also have Tree Ranger, a hunter melee player who has also held the #1 spot 20 times, showing an equal level of skill and dedication as Nightsong. Close behind are Enigmas XX, a Warlock tank player, and Taco, a Warlock destruction player, who have both dominated the leaderboard 18 and 16 times respectively. In the balanced Druid category, Innate from the Guild Humbertism has held the top spot for 2 consecutive days with a DPS of 1110.0, showing remarkable consistency. Fuel from the Guild Male Models follows closely behind with a DPS of 1079.8, while Cinta from the Guild Blessed X rounds out the top 3 with a DPS of 1069.3. The remaining top 10 players, all notable in their own right, are Perrin, Hotmiss, Centripetal, Honeycow, Blazurus, Adriu, and OK Bloomer. In the Feral Druid category, BGTD has taken the lead with a DPS of 1517.3, surpassing Parspolis, who held the top position for over a week with a consistent DPS of 1466.8. Lawsuit remains in the 3rd spot, delivering a DPS of 1436.2. The remaining top 10 players, who are also making their mark in this competitive field, are Africantiger, Swagnuts, NF, Melivarus, Cyclonaugust, and Giny. In the Guardian Druid category, Pumpy X from the Guild HUSH has held the top spot for 2 consecutive days, boasting a DPS of 867.1. NMX from the Guild Chinese Textile Machine remains a strong contender in 2nd place with a DPS of 848.2. While Cadet from the Guild B Tribe rounds out the top 3 with a DPS of 832.6. The remaining top 10 players, who continue to push the boundaries of gameplay, are Killjoy Puli, Suduapjit, XTK, Ankler, Minetses, Vistalo, and Sai Aju. In the Melee Hunter category, Tree Ranger continues to dominate with a DPS of 1556.9, maintaining their top position for over a week now. This player from the Cartel Guild has shown remarkable consistency. Following closely is Olgi from the Dendansky Meadow Guild, with a DPS of 1514.9. The 3rd spot is held by Johnsons from the Oxygen Guild, who has a DPS of 1507.9. The competition remains fierce among the remaining top 10 players, who are Rezorth, Yang Lachichi, Zatara, Cornshot, Minyaros, Wafflefreeze, and Tenokiti. In the Ranged Hunter category, Isoldout from the Guild Foot Long Party Dog Sod continues to dominate with a DPS of 1432.2, maintaining the top spot for over a week now. Floraberries from the Guild Chinese Textile Machine follows closely with a DPS of 1407.5, and Orlandodomer holds the 3rd position with a DPS of 1372.1. The remaining top 10 players, who also deserve recognition for their performance, are Fragmaster, Tubby Lumpkin, Avix, Makes, Tribalis, Bumrush, and Hurith. In the Arcane Mage category, Musakas from the Guild I'm Not Sure continues to hold the top spot for the 5th consecutive day, boasting a DPS of 726.1. Close behind, Burnett from New Game Plus maintains the 2nd position with a DPS of 724.6. The 3rd spot is secured by Dilpu, delivering a DPS of 719.0. The remaining top 10 players, who are also worth mentioning for their outstanding performance, are Moonfox, Digidoo, Magical Paul, Cuties, Minervamage, Tilon, and Muju. In the Fire Mage category, Chef from the Guild Apophasis has been holding the top spot for the past 2 days with a DPS of 1196.2, closely followed by Delano from the Guild Parse with a DPS of 1195.3, and Kia Jujiayi from the Guild Yuan Qiwan with a DPS of 1177.8. The remaining top 10 players, who are also noteworthy for their performances, are Mellowish, Tumucharmer, Megisula, Corbs, Duchinum, Gializi, and Pdim. In the Frost Mage category, Watchtone continues to dominate, maintaining the top spot for over a week with a DPS of 1039.4. Following closely is Juicy, who's been consistently delivering impressive performances with a DPS of 1033.7. Wixard rounds out the top 3 with a DPS of 1017.7. As for the rest of the top 10, Let's give a quick shout out to Just Like Fire, KFC, Obi, Clankem, TDMZ, Triipo, and Shangmingyu Nizhenmei. In the Protection Paladin category, the top 3 players have shown remarkable consistency. For the past week, Messi has held the number 1 spot with an impressive DPS of 1,291.7. This player has consistently outperformed the competition, maintaining this position for over a week. In second place, we have Boy Sothic, delivering a solid DPS of 1,230.6. One Punch rounds out the top 3 with a DPS of 1,229.3. The remaining top 10 players, who continue to challenge the top 3, are Fakiaz, Farvold, and Ming Fought, Pink Sheets, Magni, and Duz. In the Retribution Paladin category, Kui Yu continues to hold the top spot with a DPS of 1,429.4, maintaining this position for over a week now. Miley Cyrus follows closely in second place, delivering a DPS of 1,376.8. Fedan has made a notable leap to the third spot today, with a DPS of 1,376.3, replacing Pettery, who held the position yesterday. The remaining top 10 players, known for their exceptional gameplay, are Pettery, Elv Chapo, Jinx, Funky Kong, Muse, Tony Doubleeg, and Tyrion Poldering. In the Shadow Priest category, Zhang Gululu from the guild Yume Play has held the top spot for a consecutive 5 days with an impressive DPS of 983.9. Close behind, we have Shengdu's Conscience, also from the same guild, maintaining a steady DPS of 977.9. The third spot is claimed by Theradrin, who has made a significant jump from his previous 10th place, boasting a DPS of 956.5. The remaining top 10 players, who are also worth mentioning for their remarkable performance, are Waga, Jalp, Flayed, Shenyuan Zian, Smore, Daisuk, and Tisania. In the DPS Rogue category, Enwich from the Guild Link Logs has held the top spot for 2 consecutive days with a DPS of 1,545.5, showcasing an impressive consistency. Following closely behind is Sil from the guild Dendansky Meadow, who has climbed to the second spot with a DPS of 1,533.4. Janine from the guild Cartel maintains a strong presence in the top 3 with a DPS of 1,520.1. Notably, Enwich has held the number 1 position since yesterday, demonstrating remarkable skill and strategy. The remaining top 10 players, who also deserve recognition for their performance, are Zhu Shui Dai, IONL, Body Snatcher, Codinello, Feng Xiaoyu, Lash the Trash, and Karina. In the Tank Rogue category, Nerf Assassin continues to hold the top spot with an impressive DPS of 1,096.4, a position they've maintained for over a week. Following closely behind, Nova secures the second place with a DPS of 1,062.4, and Zombie rounds out the top 3 with a DPS of 1,058.7. The remaining top 10 players, who are also making their mark in the Tank Rogue category, include Bobo Tank, Sketcher, Ochenta, Wool, Lesrance, Ketu, and Scion. In the Elemental Shaman category, Relix from the guild Ego continues to dominate, holding the top spot for over a week with a consistent DPS of 1,261.4. Not far behind, Bread Gloves from Male Models maintains the second position with a DPS of 1,235.8. Roxaron rounds out the top 3, delivering a DPS of 1,196.1. The remaining top 10 players, who continue to show remarkable prowess, are Mortytide, Hexmather, Rumbles, Bangog Dongsum Jamiog, Gog, Thilly, and Bruce Wayne. In the Enhancement Shaman category, Brigand from the guild Hooligans continues to hold the top spot with a DPS of 1,608.4, a position he's held since yesterday. NA from the guild Dendansky Metode is hot on his heels with a DPS of 1,596.9, while Fake Band from the guild Male Models rounds out the top 3 with a DPS of 1,566.4. Notably, Brigand has maintained his number 1 position for 2 consecutive days, demonstrating remarkable consistency. The remaining top 10 players, who are also showing impressive stats, include Schnaps, Iopisham, Easy, Mahattuo, Hextazy, Bosseter, and Zobe. In the Tank Shaman category, Nightsong continues to hold the top spot, maintaining a DPS of 1,147.5 for over a week now. This player from the guild Summers shows no signs of slowing down. Hot on Nightsong's heels is Rolpi, also from the guild Consortium, with a DPS of 1,131.0. Rounding out the top 3 is Ibo from the guild Trash, boasting a DPS of 1,123.4. The remaining top 10 players for today, each making their own mark in the tank shaman category, are Darsipikup, Vistalo, Luuf, Bjorgen, Walks, Shamsky, and Glitex. In the DPS Warlock category, Taco from the guild Angles continues to reign supreme, holding the top spot with a DPS of 1,203.6 for over a week now. Hot on Taco's heels is Keyes from the guild Dragonslayers, boasting a DPS of 1,201.7. Making a leap into the top 3 is a Maeto, who's managed to push their DPS up to 1,185.6. The competition remains fierce with the rest of the top 10, including Fearmatic, Wayne Warlock, Pantslock, Strawberry, Demons, Benzalak, and Zhangong, all vying for those coveted top spots. In the tank Warlock category, Open Coil from Connect continues to dominate with a DPS of 1,100.1, holding the top spot for 2 consecutive days. Following closely behind is Enigmzex from Pepitant, maintaining a steady DPS of 1,045.0. Lobster from Mud Hut Elite rounds out the top 3 with a DPS of 1,040.2. The remaining top 10 players are Gianranimdo, Dinosaur, TikToxic, Gigapromax, Peak, Barot, and Moment. In the Fury Warrior category, Sopato from the guild Ego continues to dominate with a DPS of 1,801.5, maintaining the top spot for over a week now. Duki from the guild Exhausted has made a significant leap, securing the second spot with a DPS of 1,738.4, pushing Atasmos from the guild Chinese Textile Machine to the 3rd position with a DPS of 1,700.7. The remaining top 10 players, who've shown exceptional performance, include Modpio, Fudgy, Subtomioff, GoogleThat, Tuaraki, Saraswar, and Simon. In the Protection Warrior category, the top 3 players have seen some shifts. Yesterday's champion, SufferX, who held the top position for over a week with a DPS of 1,453.2, has been dethroned and now holds the 3rd position with a DPS of 1,509.6. The new leader is Duo Luo Sizu, who has surged to the top with an impressive DPS of 1,620.9. Bodil, consistent in performance, has moved up a spot to the 2nd position, boasting a DPS of 1,567.5. The remaining top 10 players, known for their skills and prowess, are Agony, Ogiez, Budoing, Seachart, Threat, Kabir, and Lan Wu Sanxian.